Hi, I'm Michael Burke, and this is Money Talks. Hi, welcome to Money Talks. Today is going to be a really fun show. You may recognize this guy next to me, LeRoy Butler, an ex-Packer great. I'm going to run through a few stats in a second, and Chuck Harvey, managing partner at Racine Automotive Group, which is where we're doing the show today, and we'll talk about your association. Racine Automotive Group, 6940 Washington Avenue in Mount Pleasant. And of course, LeRoy is well known to anyone who was watching the Packers or following the Packers from 1990 to 2001. Let's just run through a few of these stats. You were in 14 postseason games on the winning Super Bowl team from the 96 season, All-Pro 4 times, the 90s All-Decade team of the NFL, Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame, 38 interceptions, 3 defensive touchdowns. I got to guess that the defensive touchdowns had to have been just among the most thrilling moments, right?
No question about it.
Were they all in interceptions?
No, actually one was a fumble. The Lambeau Leap was a fumble. Actually 2 were fumbles. And the Lambeau Leap, Reggie White lateral, that's where the Lambeau Leap was born. So.
Okay, and what year was that?
In 1993 was one of the biggest years for us, because that was our start to being a great team from down 93 on.
From a rather kind of dismal period.
Yes.
And the Lambeau Leap, of course, this 93, 7, 15, 22 years later, it's still alive and well.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about Paul Tagliabue, who talked about it, that when he was transitioning out as commissioner, he godfathered in the Lambeau Leap. The other celebration you couldn't do. But he said, you can do the Lambeau Leap, you can jump up there and say hi to your
penalty,
fans.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
any other celebration, they throw a flag. So when Roger Goodell came in, he had the godfather that in, so it made me feel good.
Yeah, and there are a lot of other things we're going to talk about that you're involved in as well. Chuck, you opened Racine Automotive Group in 2010, and I did a story at that time.
Yep.
One thing that always stuck with me is I was not familiar until then with the Carfax reports, and you showed me that every person gets a completely open book on the vehicle that they're thinking about buying, and I always remembered that. But let's talk about why did you want to come here, because you don't actually live in the Racine area. Why did you?
I'm not from the area. I looked at this facility in 2005. We liked it. At the time, it just didn't work out. A friend of mine actually owned the building.
And this is the former Bell Dodge.
Bell Dodge, right. So in 2005. And so it was about 5 years later, he came back to us, and we were looking at building another facility in a different area. We like this area. We like I told you about the median income, high median income here. So the blue collar aspect of the location fits what we were looking to do. We like the size of it. We're on a main street. It's kind of like Car Row right here.
It sure is.
So it fit exactly what we were looking to do.
Now you had to put a ton of money into this place, didn't you?
Yeah. We stuck. It was a significant amount of money.
You don't want to say how much?
A significant amount.
This is a money show, right?
Yeah.
I know.
we stuck
You
about.
got shy all of a sudden.
Yeah. It was about $500,000.
Okay.
Is what we had to do, because basically the store had to be completely resurrected. I mean, LeRoy's involved in when he was involved in his car dealerships. It takes a lot of money to get it to the point of what we wanted.
Now 2010, of course, it wasn't until the end of 2010 that they officially declared the Great Recession over, but it was still really, really strong. Was that a good time or a really super risky time to open a new business?
Well, it was probably, a lot of people were giving us suggestions not to open. We weren't looking at building a facility into this size. I mean, this is a 20,000 square foot facility. But at the time, we were forward thinking enough to know that it was coming out of it, what was going to happen. And again, it fit our business model for the location that we'd be in. I mean, from Milwaukee to Chicago to Lake Geneva, there's 2 million people in this area. So again, it fit what we were trying to do.
And you sell, you don't have a new car franchise, but you carry, where's your bread and butter of what you sell?
Our bread and butter is probably later model cars, anywhere as old as '05 to new as current year, like 2015s. I told you that we've had some customers trade in, like some '68 Camaro that was traded in here, and we've retailed that. But typically, it's probably somewhere in 7 years to 2 years old.
I'm curious about this. When somebody drives in here and they want to buy from you and they want to trade in, but their trade-in is just a piece of junk. You know, it's got rusted out fenders, and they just want it out of their lives.
Right.
And you can't really give them any value for it. Do you just ship those? Do you take them but then ship them off to Milwaukee Auto Auction or something like that?
Yeah, we send them to, there's salvage yards that will buy that equipment.
Okay.
Because then they just strip it down and they use the parts, and then they send those parts all over the world. I mean, they'll send them to, it literally could be anywhere in the world.
Now, you were in the auto business.
Yes.
Where was that?
We were up in Waupaca, Wisconsin.
That's a pretty area.
Yeah, it really was. And it was a great opportunity for me because Ford at the time was looking to close that particular point. And me and my partner at the time, we had a great game plan. And I thought for the most part, I had to thank Ford because they put us in a great location, a great chance to sell a brand that didn't have Mercury, which they got rid of. But Lincoln, Mercury, and Ford, they really wanted that valley area. And being in Waupaca, I was able to do that. So I had to take a lot of classes, and I got the one thing, and I bought a lot of cars over the years. And the one thing that kept coming back to me is when a guy left, I wanted him to feel like that he got a good deal. And we had the franchise brand Ford behind it.
So it sounds like you were pretty active in that business and not just a silent partner.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was a minority owner. I had just one other partner, and it just didn't go the way I wanted it to go. We were selling a lot of cars, but we just wasn't as chugging to get the money back. And we had to end up closing because some issues that my partner.
Okay. How many years were you in that business?
We were in there for like 2.5, 3 years, strong. I mean, number one in Lincoln at times, and number 2 in Ford, and we had Waupaca, and we had 18 and 19 employees, and we were selling anywhere from 75 to 150 cars a month at times.
Wow!
I mean, we were doing very well, and for it not to succeed, I said, you know what? I really would love to get back into it, but it got to be the right fit. I just don't want to be in the car if they just put my name to be on the building.
Yeah,
that wasn't important.
And of course, you have some involvement here, which we will definitely get to. There's some other things that I think are interesting about your business model here. Talk about the lifetime warranty.
Lifetime warranty is huge. I really think that's a big difference between us and a lot of facilities. Not just picking on places that are around town here, but
what are the conditions of the warranty?
Well, this is what we decided. Because we sell later model cars and we could sell all different brands, we tie it into the manufacturer's warranty. So whatever the manufacturer recommended services are, customers have to do here. So if they have to do transmission flushes, radiator flushes, and oil changes, and we've kind of cut our teeth in the oil changes here. We started with our $9.95 oil changes. So to tie it into the facility, we cover the car, engine and transmission, 100% parts, 100% labor. Also so it's a full powertrain. So it also covers the transfer case. And the only hook to it is the customers have to do general maintenance here. So they do their general maintenance, which if you compare the general maintenance between us and a franchise store, we're less expensive. So we save them money on the back end of it. Plus we provide that peace of mind. When you're going to buy a later model car, or some of the later model cars come with remaining manufacturer warranty, but if you buy something that's 5 years old with 75,000 miles on it, your only concern really is the powertrain. Okay. I want customers to have that peace of mind knowing that it's taken care of. So they don't have, if they have an issue with it, it doesn't have to be repaired here. I've had a customer that bought a car here that works in Johnson Bank and had an issue up in Minnesota. Took it to a facility up there, had it repaired, we paid for it.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah. You know what? We have a whole lot to talk about. I think we're going to save some more of what sets your business apart talk about your bullying program and the tie-in with you guys, but let's save that for part 2.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for watching Money Talks, and please join us next week for part 2 of this conversation with Chuck Harvey of Racine Automotive Group and LeRoy Butler from the Packers. And I'm Michael Burke.